see how I'm pinching and it's not doing anything at all to make that fan. So that's because there's a slight opening and closing of the tweezer that I'm doing. I want you to watch my thumb first. All right, now we're going to go over how to make fans. Now, to make your fans, you need something that's very important. This is called a lash tray. This is an old brand that I created. This used to be my brand. I just found a vendor and I put my logo there. I gave them my logo and everything, and they designed it how I wanted it. Information to the vendors and like how to do your own brand and everything like that, that will also be linked down below. But to make a fan, this is what's called a lash strip. And to pick it up, you're just going to choose either tweezer and kind of like put it that arrow or at that end point, and you're just going to pick it up. Now you can either put it on the back of your hand. I'm used to doing it on the back of my hand, and that's how I'll show you here today. But you can also use something that's called a lash tile. It's basically just a tile, like a brick, or a cute little design, and you can also just place it on the tile or on your tray next to you wherever you're working and pick it up from there. But just for time, effort, and I feel like it's easier to just do it on your hand. All right, so this is why I love the boot tweezers or the fiber grip tweezers, because it's going to be very important when you're trying to make a fan. So again, we're holding it here. We're using this finger for support. I use the back of the tweezer, so like this part here, to help pick up the fan. So I'm not picking up too much. I kind of use it as like a guide to let me know how much I'm going to pick up. So because I see a lot of beginners, they like are picking up too much, or they're trying to pick it up like that, and it's like, no, you want to figure out how much you're getting before you choose to pick up. So doing volume, you don't need too many hairs. You really don't, unless you're trying to create like a mega volume, or I don't know, but you don't need that much. So again, I'm using the back of the tweezers to help guide how many hairs I'm going to pick up. Once I have that figured out, I'm going to separate it from the rest of the hairs. And you don't want to pick up all the way from here at the bottom. You don't also want to pick up all the way at the top, because you see how that's slanting your grip. Once you get to a certain point of the lashes are very sensitive, you guys. Understand that and remember that as you go. Lashes are very sensitive, and it's going to take you being in control. It's going to take you with a lot of conviction to tell these lashes what to do. So you cannot be soft when it comes to these lashes, because they're going to do what they want to do. So picking up at the top will cause your grip to kind of not be as strong. You're not pulling with much conviction there at that top. So I like to find a good point. It's kind of like in the middle here. It's not too high, but it's not too low as well. So it's kind of about right here in the middle. To pick up, every single hair should be very uniform. There should be nothing out of place. They should all stay the exact same. And now, how do you do that? So this is something that I call the back bend method. So instead of, because this is what I see a lot of teaching beginners, you guys are pulling like this, and you even see how me doing that, I was not able to get all the hairs. So pulling like that, everything's out of place, it's wacky. So the back bend method is where, look at the top half of the tweezer. You see how I'm kind of leaning it, but I'm not leaning it all the way flat. I'm picking up the hairs by me pulling my hand forward. So instead of me pulling the tweezer forward, I'm pulling my hand forward, and I'm keeping my tweezer in the same place that I was holding it. So I pulled my hand forward and I kept my tweezer back, and that kind of creates sort of the back bend scenario that I like to call it. It's coming forward, but it's still backwards in a sense. if you can see. I don't know if you guys can see that. You see? Hold on, let me let my camera focus on it. All right. You guys see how when I go to pinch, I'm pulling my hand forward and keeping my tweezer back. It's creating that sort of back bend effect. It's coming forward, but it's still back at the same time. And that helps me to grab all the hairs very uniformly. Now, this is a great example if you do have hairs that are sticking out on the side. Sometimes it happens, it's okay. Or hairs that's kind of like below the uniform. All you're going to do is just gently, but make sure that your grip is strong because you don't want to lose the rest of these perfect hairs that we have here. So you're just going to gently grab that lash and flick it off. And we're good to go just like that. Now, you have the hairs, they're uniform, they're straight, they're perfect. Now we're going to go into pinching. So to pinch, you're going to only use these two fingers and you're going to pinch this way. I've seen a few do it this way. You can try that if you like. I feel that it's very uncomfortable for me. So I do just like to go straight forward at it. You don't want to do it sideways. You don't want to, I don't know. Y'all beginners just do everything that there is to do. So you go at it straight. Now, this is something very important. Let me get a solid background. This is something very important that I tell my students. You guys see how I'm pinching and it's not making a fan? That's because to make a fan, it includes the pinching and the maneuvering of your tweezer. Technically your thumb, but beautiful. All right. You guys see, all I do is move my hand forward. I'm not moving the tweezer forward. My hand is coming forward. All right, now to pinch, you guys see how I'm pinching and it's not doing anything at all to make that fan. So that's because there's a slight opening and closing of the tweezer that I'm doing. I want you to watch my thumb first. Watch the tweezer as I'm pinching. Beautiful fan. And let me show you guys up close what it is that I'm doing. Now, this is something you should probably try to practice first. This is the method. This is how minute that I'm opening and closing this tweezer. You don't want to open too wide. Let me show you guys this. Opening too wide or like opening too much, now you're stuck here. You don't know quite, and now you've lost it. See that slight minute opening and closing of the tweezer that I'm doing there? That's what you should be doing as you're pinching. So simultaneously, this works together, you guys. And to do that, you don't have to use all of your fingers. You shouldn't even really be using your back finger when you're making this fan. What I'm using to open and close is mainly my thumb. Look at how I'm flexing my thumb to open and close that tweezer and to flex this fan. Look at the thumb movement. Look at the minute opening, closing of the tweezer. And that will really help you to make that perfect fan. Great. Another example here. We have a hair. We have a hair that's kind of out of place. Hold on, let me see if I can show you guys. Okay. All right, so perfect example right here. We have a hair that's out of place. Do not panic. You're going to want to keep your tweezer, keep your grip strong. And you're just going to gently pull that hair using your fingers. Now don't worry about that. It's going to close as we glue this together. Remember, the glue also works in our favor as well. All right, so let's go over this again. to pick up your lash. You're not picking up at the very bottom. And this is, let me show you guys why you're not picking up at the very bottom as well. You're not picking up at the very bottom because you don't want a short base. You guys see how short that is? First of all, you don't want it short because when you go to dip this in the glue is already going to start touching your tweezers. We'll get into that in the next video, but your tweezers are already stuck together because you just dipped it in glue. You need a kind of medium length base because you really want to keep that glue away from your tweezers, and you also just want it to be perfect when you're going to place it on that lash. And just as I did, I'll show you guys how I moved it. So if you, let's say you do accidentally pick up at a short base right there, what I do, and I don't do this often, but I pinch it and I just let my tweezer go and I close it back at a taller point. And I kind of fix my fan up a little bit. Now you don't want to keep opening and closing your fan as I did because we kind of just lost our perfect fan. It's okay now, but she was better looking before we started doing the most. So try not to completely open your tweezer as much as, try not to completely open your tweezer. You really just want to slightly open and close it simultaneously. All right, so we're picking up kind of in the middle here. Let me measure out how much I want. That's a good amount. I'm going to do the back bend. Hairs are uniform. I'm going to pinch and then slightly open and close that tweezer. Perfect. Now, you see how my base is super slim and skinny? She's wearing a size 0. That comes from the pinching. That's what's important about that pinching. Your pinching just keeps your fan slim and thin. The opening and closing of your tweezer is what's making that fan. Now I see it. Now, you guys, everything about this. All right, now you guys, everything about this method of fanning and doing pinching, it has to be very, very gentle. I had a student who was just a little bit too harsh and heavy when it came to making her fans. She would pinch super hard and try to, guys, the lashes are sensitive. They're sensitive, okay? They're 3 years old. Everything that you're doing, you want it to be gentle. You want it to be soft. You don't want to go at it too hard. You don't want to make it mad. You just want to make a cute little perfect fan. Isn't she a cutie? All right, now I'm going to go into a time lapse of me making fans just so y'all can get more into the habit of it, see how I'm doing it, and let's go.